Good evening and welcome. You're watching the Newshour Agenda. I'm Padmaja Joshi. We have Devesh Kumar speaking out for the first time today. Who is Devesh Kumar? Devesh Kumar is the man you have known so far only as a Twitter identity. You have known him as the ultimate villain of the piece in the entire Meta Wire fiasco. You know him as the man accused by the Wire of forgery, fabrication, and even a conspiracy at someone's behest. Basically, Devesh Kumar stands accused today of being the reporter who not just wrote a fake story but also provided fake documents and then forged emails and then did fake videos to cover one fake story with another. And finally, he was accused of even being mentally disturbed. Today, for the first time, Devesh Kumar is not just a Twitter handle. He is a person who is speaking up and breaking his silence on all the charges that have been made against him by the Wire. Is he mentally disturbed? Did he palm off fabricated documents to the Wire? And were they led trustingly into a mega con job? Devesh Kumar. Listen to him.
अभी जो चीजें चल रही हैं सारी, इस बारे में आपका क्या कहना है?
इस बारे में मेरा स्टैंड वही है जो वायर का स्टैंड है कि जो रिपोर्टिंग इंस्टाग्राम और मेटा के आधार पे हमने की थी, उस रिपोर्टिंग में हमसे गलती हुई है। बहुत सारे डॉक्यूमेंट जो हमारे पास आए हैं अलग अलग जगह से, वो डॉक्यूमेंट सही नहीं है।
एक बात आ रही है कि जो वायर ने जो कंप्लेंट फाइल की थी आपके अगेंस्ट पुलिस के साथ, उसने कहा है कि आप मेंटली अनसाउंड हैं, मेंटली अनस्टेबल हैं।
नहीं, मेंटली अनसाउंड अनस्टेबल ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, क्योंकि पहली बार ऐसा कुछ हुआ है मेरे ज़िंदगी में। और जो है परेशानी वाले दौर से हम लोग सब गुजर रहे हैं, वायर के लोग भी गुजर रहे हैं, मैं भी गुजर रहा हूँ। तो थोड़ा नर्वस थे, थोड़ा जो है टेंशन में थे, पर उससे वो मुझे लगता है कि जो लैंग्वेज यूज़ किया गया है वो सही नहीं है। वायर ने एक रिपोर्ट छापी, उसमें बहुत सारे लोग इन्वॉल्व थे। मेरा नाम भी नहीं है रिपोर्ट में, शुरू के दौर में मेरा नाम नहीं है, जानवी और सिद्धार्थ का नाम है। और जो है कहने का मतलब ये कि जैसे मैंने बताया कि मिथुन भी हुआ है और एडिटर्स पे भी हुए हैं, ऑफिस में अकाउंटेंट्स पे भी हुए हैं, उसी तरह से मेरे पे भी कंप्यूटर सीज किया गया है। मुझे कोई लीगली कोर्स लेने की अभी ज़रूरत नहीं है और ना ही मैं अभी उसके बारे में सोच रहा हूँ, क्योंकि अभी जो है मुझे कोई भी जानकारी नहीं मिली है कि मेरे ऊपर क्या आरोप है, या मुझे सिर्फ इन्वेस्टिगेशन का प्रोसेस का पार्ट इसलिए बनाया है दिल्ली पुलिस ने ताकि जो जानकारी जो है अलग अलग जगह से सही ढंग से आ सके।
So, here is what we know after speaking to Devesh. He has contradicted the Wire's complaint, confirming that he is of sound mind. He has confirmed that the stories written claiming that Meta is working on the instructions of BJP's Amit Malviya wasn't the handiwork of Devesh alone and his fabrication. He has confirmed that they were authored by other Wire journalists like Sen and Siddharth Vardarajan himself. In fact, remember the original story that started with the claim that your post will be pulled down by Meta from Instagram on Amit Malviya's complaint, no questions asked, didn't even have Devesh in the picture. Then how does one buy the argument of the Wire being led up the garden path? The important point also is, and this is very critical, Devesh Kumar wasn't just responsible for this Meta story or the Meta hoax as we now know it. He's now been dismissed and discredited, but in the past he has done multiple stories for the Wire on Pegasus, on COVID deaths in India, among others. But the main story that he did, which gathered headlines before Meta, is the one on tech fog. The tech fog story claimed that BJP social media operatives are using this tech fog to target scribes and other individuals who were critical of the government. This mysterious tech fog, claimed the Wire, was also used to carry out phishing attacks on individuals, to harass them and even hijack Twitter trends. Now, we stand at a point where both the Meta and the tech fog stories have been withdrawn by the Wire. But other organizations who use this tech fog hoax to target India have not withdrawn their story. Let me first show you how Devesh Kumar's authoring of the tech fog story was picked up by other portals, and now that he stands discredited and the story stands withdrawn, what happens to the entire tech fog narrative and how it reflects on India? For that, let me go across to my colleague, Siddharth Talia. Siddharth.
So this is a curious turn of events. Now, the tech fog stories are actually published by The Wire with, of course, Devesh Kumar as their author in January 2022, and it's picked up by both national and international publications and also NGOs like Freedom House that like to rate democracies as to how they're actually performing in terms of their respective democratic indices. It's a fairly complicated rating system that the Freedom House has now devolved. India's overall rating actually is downgraded as far as its freedom index is concerned, but its rating for net freedoms actually goes up marginally. But what doesn't go in India's favor is the reportage by The Wire on tech fog. There are multiple references in Freedom House's 2022 report on India where tech fog and Wire's reportage on tech fog is specifically cited. So this is the overall index that we're talking about. This is 66 out of 100 for India, where the ratings are marginally lower than what they used to be last year. 51 out of 100 for India is the net freedom index, marginally higher. And these are the references to tech fog, where in January 2022, of course, Freedom House makes a reference to the tech fog story run by The Wire. This is the relevant excerpt from its report on India. There's at least one other reference as well in its entire net freedoms report on India, where tech fog is referenced by Freedom House and cited, of course, as being attributed to The Wire, which published the story in the first place in the month of January. We've reached out to Freedom House as to whether or not they'll actually revisit their ratings on India, given the retraction published by The Wire. There's been no response forthcoming.
So just to be clear, Siddharth, how many days has it been since The Wire has withdrawn its story? So
The Wire withdrew the tech fog story on the 23rd of October, and we're now talking on the 2nd of November. It's been 10 days since the retraction. No change yet on the Freedom House website, which we just checked about 4 to 5 minutes ago.
Curious, isn't it? The fact that a story stands debunked and withdrawn, but the conclusions that were drawn based on that story continue to be out there in the public domain. Like Siddharth said, we reached out to Freedom House. They have not modified their story and they have not responded to us. The question, though, is, has Devesh Kumar exposed The Wire's defense completely? Has Devesh Kumar speaking out now also put a big question mark on what really was the intent of writing all these stories and the way that they were picked up to reflect on India? Who will take onus for and make amends for the damage that have been done by Wire's story, the meta story, the tech fog story? How many other stories do we know whose reliability is now in question? Coming back to Devesh, why did Wire editors palm off all blame on him when they took bylines for stories purportedly done on material provided by him? And finally, where, why, and on what basis has The Wire floated the theory of Devesh being mentally troubled? Did they speak to him before actually coming up with this insinuation? Is this not defamatory to the man that they have themselves employed and put on critical stories, or is this their way of seeking plausible deniability?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Dr. Aprajita Sarangi, MP and national spokesperson of BJP, joins us along with political analyst Rishi Bagree, Syed Aslam Pasha, spokesperson of JDS, Rahul Singh, senior journalist, and Ravi Srivastav, political analyst. Syed Aslam Pasha, I want to start with you because you belong to a mainstream party. It's a mainstream party of the country India. Now, as far as the country India is concerned, the world has been told that we are very low down there on the freedom index. Based on a story written by this Devesh Kumar, the story is withdrawn, but this rating remains. Who's going to make amends for that damage done to India's image?
But Padmaja, from day one, since The Wire got into this controversy, I've been telling that this is a editorial blunder. We can call it as an editorial blooper.
Let me put some things very bluntly now. Let me say some things very bluntly. Maybe the image of the country is not very important in the eyes of people who write these stories and peddle them. But here's the thing. Would you be okay if tomorrow somebody wrote a piece saying that you are a mass murderer and then come back and say, oops, mistake.
No,
it was based on a false document. Would you say, oh, it's an editorial blunder? Let them like be okay with it.
Okay.
Let them get away.
Okay.
Or will you sue them for defamation?
Yeah. Right. So give me peaceful 1 minute. Let me put things in the right context. Now, when I say political blunder, editorial blunder, or a editorial blooper, what I mean to say is the Wire as an organization already apologized for this article.
Sir,
now,
I am asking you a very specific question. Come to it quickly, because I have only a singular concern. Who is going to make amends for the damage done to the image of India? Because here we see a classic manifestation of the saying that while the truth is putting on its shoes, a lie has made its way twice around the world. And in this case, Wire's lie is still circulating the globe, even as the truth in the form of Devesh Kumar is still putting on its shoes. Who is going to make amends? So Siddharth Vardarajan,
you are right.
The Wire, Janvi Sen, who will make amends?
Yes. The case has already been registered. Even Amit Malviya ji has registered a case. He says that his image has been maligned and tarnished. Definitely investigation is happening. All I'm
principally,
trying to say
let me first understand that you think this investigation should take place? That the Wire should be searched and investigated? Fundamentally, you agree with that?
Can I just finish?
Sir, yes or no? Fundamentally, do you think that the Wire should be searched and investigated?
For the editorial blunder, whoever gives the article, it is the responsibility of the organization to investigate thoroughly, then publish it.
No, sir, you're not answering my question.
Yes, they have to
I
be
have asked you
investigated.
two questions. You have goose-stepped around both of them. Question number one. Who is going to make amends for the damage done to the image of India? Let's take a look again at that Freedom House rating that was given on the basis of a fake story. Who is going to make amends?
You cannot decide this on one particular story. There are thousands of stories. There are thousands of editorial
But Freedom House quoted only one story of Tech Fog to give this rating.
You're talking about one story.
It
the
is.
Other day also I told
How do we know that the past story on Pegasus wasn't fake? Who's going to make amends?
So let there be a free and fair investigation.
So you agree there should be investigation against the Wire?
There has to be an investigation.
So you agree there should be an investigation against the Wire?
Whether they are a victim or whether they are a victim of this hoax, or they have got themselves involved in a ploy, or what whether they've got the forged documents.
Mr. Sayyid Pasha, do you fundamentally then agree that a police investigation is the only way out and it is not a witch hunt with a chilling effect?
When I say investigation, there should be an investigation about who has given this information.
Who will investigate?
It was a ploy.
Who will investigate?
It was a ploy for them to
who will investigate?
Whether there is a conspiracy.
Sir, who will investigate?
Conspiracy.
Who will investigate?
One question, Padmaja.
Sir, who will investigate? I have asked you two questions. You haven't answered asking me questions.
I will answer.
Who will investigate? Who will investigate?
Right. No. So just tell me one question. If the organization has given an unconditional apology, why are we dragging this?
Because they haven't told us.
Why are we?
They haven't told us where the emails came from. Sir, they haven't told us where the emails came from.
Padmaja, we have to agree for two facts. One, if this is an editorial blunder, we also need to investigate whether the information and the forged documents which have been provided.
So let me quote to you, sir. Let me quote to you multiple examples. A gentleman in Maharashtra was arrested because he made comments about the then minister in the Agadi government. Another man was arrested because he made comments about Karti Chidambaram. You should let them go also. They should say sorry. Sorry, my bad. Leave that aside. I am asking you, sir, you are a reputed politician. Today, if somebody prints an article saying Syed Aslam Pasha is a mass murderer, he has committed 10 murders. And then says, oh, it was a fake email. Sorry, Mr. Pasha. Oops.
Living
you will
in
say,
a
okay,
democratic country, what would I do? Living in a democratic country, what would I do? What would I do living in a democratic country?
Sir,
I will give a complaint
you a
against
simple
the individual.
question. Today, let me bring in Rishi Bagree. I'm asking you a simple question. Today, Rishi Bagree goes on Twitter and writes, Syed Aslam Pasha is a mass murderer. I have got emails telling me that he has killed 10 people. And tomorrow he says, sorry sir, गलती हो गई. बड़े-बड़े शहरों में छोटी-छोटी गलतियां होती रहती हैं. You would say कोई बात नहीं ऋषि बागरी, कोई बात नहीं. जाओ जी लो अपनी जिंदगी.
Like Amit Malviya ji, I will also book a case.
You will book a case, no? You will book a case, na? Then what is this chilling effect we are talking about? What is this chilling effect?
You are not allowing me to finish. But at the same time, the person who is saying that I am a victim of a hoax, my organization is a victim of a hoax.
Why should we believe that?
Whether I have been
Why should we believe them? They are saying I'm a victim of a hoax, and Devesh Kumar is saying they are not victim of a hoax.
Needs to be free and fair.
The same organization is also saying Devesh Kumar is mentally disturbed. Devesh Kumar is saying I'm not mentally disturbed. Why should you believe the wire?
Padmaja, if one individual is giving a complaint, if that is registered as a FIR, if it is free and fair, the other individual's complaint also has to be booked. And the investigation needs to happen from both the ends.
Okay, Rishi Bagree, now come to this. Now this is the technical point. Why hasn't the wire's complaint been turned into an FIR?
No, you just simply understand. I mean, this concentrated victimhood played by this Vardarajan and his band of assault frauds are repulsive. Actually, they are repulsive. I mean, this raids against this Vardarajan and the wire and their collaborators, not because of this defamation case filed by Amit Malviya. It is because of the forgery, cheating, fabrication, and criminal conspiracy. There are other, provisions for why they have been actually raided and why they have been actually been probed. You need to understand. I mean, now what is the defense of the Vardarajan? He says that the story by Devesh Kumar was actually, he misled us. He did that. But what about the subsequent forgery and fabrication? Now, after social media and the meta, they have called out the story. Who fabricated Andy Stone email? Now, who actually verified fake Andy Stone emails, DKIM actually? Who forged verification of the 2 external experts? I mean, all this is done by the wire or the Rajan. So, for the first part, you can blame Devesh Kumar, but what about the subsequent forgeries and subsequent things?
Yeah.
You cannot. You have forged email of Stone. You have forged DKIM verification.
I have to tell you this, that today everyone keeps saying blunder, blunder, blunder. Mr. Vardarajan, on the 12th of October, when he was being questioned, what is your primary source of information? What is the material on which you are basing your story, which, by the way, he took a byline for Syed Aslam Pasha. That wasn't Devesh Kumar. Mr. Vardarajan wrote that story. You know what he said? He said, the wire now has additional corroborative material. We need to do the necessary due diligence and will release our next story nailing Meta's false claims about our stories tomorrow, October 13. On October 12, Mr. Vardarajan told us, we have additional corroborative material. I am doing due diligence. On October 12, he said this. He said, I'm doing due diligence. Then what is this corroborative material he was talking about? Where is this corroborative material?
Padmaja, this is exactly what I was saying. When you publish an article and if you give out your name, it becomes all the more important for you to do your due diligence and also do a proper investigation.
But he said he's doing due diligence.
But having said that, now,
let me turn this around. Let me turn this around, Mr. Syed Aslam Pasha. Let me turn this around. Everyone is saying, ये conspiracy नहीं, ये गलती है. Give me one piece of evidence to show कि ये गलती है.
मैं बताता हूँ. If you're talking, this is not a blunder, and if this has to be investigated, if it's not a conspiracy,
sir, answer the question straight.
Book a case.
What is the evidence to show that this was a blunder?
Madam,
right now, the only reason for saying it's a blunder is saying we were misled. Devesh is saying कोई mislead नहीं किया भैया, उन्होंने अपनी byline ली. दूसरा कि ये आदमी पागल है. He's saying मैं कोई पागल नहीं हूँ, मैं बिल्कुल सही हूँ. Thank you very much. So on what basis are you saying it's a blunder? On what basis?
बायलाइन लेने से आपका responsibility 10 times बढ़ जाता है, because you're putting your name there. Okay. Now the question is whether it is a conspiracy or not.
How do you know it is not a conspiracy
or not?
Okay, let me turn this around again. Mr. Pasha, how do you know this is not a conspiracy?
Exactly. For that, you have to register a case against Devesh, which is given by Siddharth Vardarajan, and you have to check whether the document was forged, whether they were drawn into a ploy, or whether they have become a victim of hoax. That has to be investigated. Now,
but it is being investigated. It is being investigated.
No, but why is the complaint not registered?
The complaint is registered. I think what you mean is, why is the complaint not being turned into an FIR? Answer, Aparajita Sarangi. Yes. The mysterious thing is that investigation has started on Amit Malviya's FIR, but not on the Wire's FIR. Why? The Wire's complaint hasn't been turned into an FIR. Aparajita Sarangi.
See, there are three issues which I would like to submit here, and I would definitely like to seek answers to those. The first thing is that, and it is clear to everybody, that Wire has been a habitual offender. And, you know, there have been instances in the past also which actually support my contention. We have just spoken about the tech fog story. Now, number two is, Devesh has been thrown out of the bus by Wire. This is absolutely apparent, and even the investigative agency knows this. And this Devesh was his word was the gospel truth at one point of time a couple of months back. He had been writing articles for the Wire. And suddenly Wire thinks that Devesh is mentally unhinged because Devesh is not suiting Wire at this juncture. So I think, you know, everything is pointing against the behavior of Wire and those people associated with Wire. And third and very important is, what is the guarantee that Wire will not do it again after a couple of, say, weeks? You know, it's not a question of the head of IT cell of Bharatiya Janata Party. It's a question of India, the image of India, the reputation of India. How could Wire do it? And without the consent, without the complicity of Vardarajan and the lady, this would not have happened at all. I'm sure.
Mr. Ravi Srivastava, how do you know this won't happen again? How do you know this hasn't happened earlier? Because like we said, there were stories on COVID, there were stories on Pegasus, there were stories on tech fog, there are stories on Meta. Two have been held back. How do we know the others were sound stories and not based on something fabricated? Who's to know?
My take is totally different. India is at the bottom of the press freedom index. Why? There have been several reasons. I think you recall Ankhi Das had to resign from Facebook. For what reason? Everybody knows it. My take here is altogether different. This Devesh Kumar is a mentally perfectly sound person. He is a mole of some people. He was planted there. It's a deep-rooted conspiracy just to malign the Wire, just to see that he does everything. Mail verified by him, the video verified by him, the story verified by him.
Who's mole?
It's all...
Who's mole?
Who's exactly?
Who's mole?
Who's called? One who is affected.
Who?
One who is affected.
Arey, name
Who's
them.
Called? One who is affected.
Who's mole?
Bharatiya Janata Party and this government. You name it, no?
Yeah,
I named it. Yes.
Bharatiya Janata Party. Devesh Kumar is Bharatiya Janata Party's mole.
He is bribed by the Bharatiya Janata Party to bring out these kind of things and malign the image of Wire.
So then essentially you are saying that people who are sitting and running a portal claiming to speak truth to power are essentially stupid. Why are you calling them stupid, Ravi Srivastava?
Padmaja, first of all, if this way the police starts attacking the people...
Sir, answer my question. You said BJP made a mole of Devesh Kumar and they sent him to the Wire to get employed. They employed him, gave their money to him, made him write stories, and it was all along a BJP conspiracy. That is really stupid, sir.
I will tell you.
You are being very uncharitable. These are very senior people, and you're calling them stupid.
I will give you some more reasons. He had separated from Wire in July itself.
So why did they take his documents? Exactly. How stupid do you have to be to take documents from somebody who's not even an employee? कल मैं आपके पास ऐसे हाथ हिलाते हुए आऊंगी और कहेंगी देखिए 4 ईमेल हैं, इसमें लिखा है सैयद असलम पाशा ने 4 मर्डर किए हैं. आप कहोगे ठीक है, कोई आई डोंट नो आप कौन हो, बट मैं छाप देता हूँ because why not?
You heard his statement.
Why not?
Devesh Kumar, he said that I was doing some.
कल को कोई भी आएगा, कल को ऋषि बागरी आएगा आपके पास कि आपको पता है कि कांग्रेस के अंदर 4000 करोड़ का स्कैम हो रहा है. आप कहोगे चलो मैं स्टोरी छाप देता हूँ, why not? दिखने में तो ये बहुत अच्छे दिख रहे हैं.
आप डेलिबरेटली भेजोगे बदनाम करने के लिए तो जरूर ले लेगा वो. एग्जैक्टली हुआ.
अरे वो तो डेलिबरेटली भेजेगा, बट आप तो नहीं ले लोगे ना डेलिबरेटली. आप तो इतने सीनियर, इतने प्रबुद्ध लोग हैं, आप पूरी दुनिया को बताते हैं कि व्हाट्सएप यूनिवर्सिटी पे मत भरोसा करो, सच्ची पत्रकारिता पे भरोसा करो. कम से कम ईमेल तो चेक कर लो भाई. व्हाट्सएप यूनिवर्सिटी की जगह आप तो ईमेल यूनिवर्सिटी चला रहे हैं.
अमित मालविया ने एफआईआर में देवेश कुमार का नाम तो नहीं लिखा. वो तो कहता है मेरे ऊपर कोई चार्ज ही नहीं है.
ऋषि बागरी, देवेश कुमार का नाम नहीं लिखा, इससे पता चलता है कि देवेश कुमार अमित मालविया का एजेंट है.
ये तो बहुत मतलब
उनका एजेंट है जिसको वो जो बदनाम हो रहे हैं, जो समझते हैं हम बदनाम हो रहे हैं. सीधी बात.
रवि जी मेरे फेवरेट पैनलिस्ट है. कल वो सुकेश कुमार जी को भी उसका एजेंट बना रहे थे भाजपा का. आज देवेश कुमार को भाजपा का एजेंट बना रहे हैं.
अरे अमित शाह जी के लिए 200 करोड़ रुपए की उगाही कर रहा था ऋषि बागरी. कैसे यार, आप इतने बड़े ट्विटर के स्पेशलिस्ट, तो आपको मालूम नहीं थी.
सर आप गजब हो सर. आपसे बात करता हूँ तो दिल खुश हो जाता है. लेकिन सर मैं आपको 2 पॉइंट रवि जी मैं 2 पॉइंट आपको बोलना चाहता हूँ. रवि जी कमिंग बैक टू द इशू, मैं आपको 2 पॉइंट बोलना चाहता हूँ. चलिए देवेश कुमार जी ने जो किया गलत किया, वो चलिए भाजपा का एजेंट भी मान लेते हैं, लेकिन वरदराजन जी ने वो स्टोरी को डिफेंड करने के लिए इतनी सारी फॉर्जरीज क्यों की थी? क्वेश्चन ये आता है. उन्होंने ईमेल फॉर्ज कर दिया, उन्होंने डीकेआईएम वेरिफिकेशन फॉर्ज कर दिया, उन्होंने 2 विटनेस लेकर आ गए ये बताने के लिए कि स्टोरी सही है. तो उन्होंने इतनी फॉर्जरी क्यों की? अगर देवेश कुमार अगर फॉर्जरी किया तो उसको बचाने के लिए वर्धन जी ने क्यों किया फॉर्जरी? क्वेश्चन ये हो रहा है. पद्मजा जी
wait a second. Now let me actually show you how these bylines were given. चलिए, देवेश कुमार is a mole of Amit Malviya, and Mr. Rahul Singh, I want to come to you. Devesh Kumar is a mole of Amit Malviya, like Sukesh Chandrasekhar, like half the people in this country are all moles of Amit Malviya. But then Devesh Kumar, the mole, comes up with these emails and he gives them to an unsuspecting, gullible yet very senior journalist. And the journalist says, not only will I print the story, I will take the byline also. Because this is such a credible story that I want my name attached to it with like decades of experience. Here, the first article on the 10th, and this is very important because remember the first story that was written had no mention of any BJP and some of the secret powers of X-Check and this, that and the other. The first story was actually authored by Jahnavi Sen. The only mention of Devesh Kumar was designed by Devesh Kumar. So he was a graphic designer of sorts in this story. The person who actually took credit for the information was Jahnavi Sen. The second story, which by the way, Siddharth Varadarajan said, we have got corroborative material and we are putting it out after due diligence, had his own byline along with Jahnavi Sen. Here, Devesh Kumar did not even feature as the designer. So tell me this, Mr. Rahul Singh, that Devesh Kumar is a mole. Fine. He's been planted by Amit Malviya. Fine. Is Mr. Varadarajan and Jahnavi Sen also moles? To give it legitimacy by putting their name on the story. Are they also moles of the BJP? Mr. Rahul Singh.
I've been listening to this whole conversation with great interest. I've been a journalist all my life for over 50 years. You know, the most important ingredient of any newspaper or news channel is credibility. Now, you are saying that the credibility of the Wire has been damaged by this one story. Might be true, but that if the credibility of the Wire is lost, they will no longer be a credible news portal. Now the fact is that the credibility of the major newspapers is very flawed. I mean, most of journalists don't really believe what they see in the newspapers. They also feel that the major newspapers are being taken over by
the issue here is not of credibility.
Houses.
The credibility will be decided by the readers and by the public.
It is.
The issue here, sir,
is about credibility.
Of criminal intent.
The Wire's credibility is in question.
Discussed and investigated. Is there criminal intent or not, according to you?
No, you
given
use the word.
The events that have been laid out over here.
You use the word conspiracy. You use the word conspiracy to damage India's image.
Yes.
There's no such conspiracy. People publish, the New York Times and the Washington Post have published stories in good faith which have turned out to be false.
But sir, how can you publish something in good faith?
Do you know that at one time...
Again, let me come back to a fundamental question.
Yeah.
As somebody with experience of 50 years, I will ask you very plainly. Would you put your name on a story whose primary sources you haven't even met or checked? Would you put your name on it?
If that person has been working with me, I might carry that story.
That person wasn't working.
That
person wasn't even an employee of the Wire at the time of publication. Wasn't even an employee. He said, and I quote, मैं जुलाई 2020 तक काम करता था, उसके बाद मैं छोटा मोटा काम जो मुझे कहा जाता था मैं करता था. So essentially he is some, third party. He came with something. And you said, not only will I accept it, I will put my name to it.
Even then, but even they made a mistake. There was no criminal conspiracy. You are defending the police raiding that place? How can you defend that?
So how do you think it will be determined?
The police don't raid media houses.
Let me ask you conversely, how do you know that it's a mistake and not a conspiracy? How do you know that?
Let's see. You said they should be investigated. There is something called the Press Council. There's something called the Press Council.
But the Press Council has already given them the certificate of innocence. How will an organization that has already deemed them innocent be expected to investigate? And how is the Press Council empowered to check for forgery? They do not have the wherewithal, sir. It's as basic as that. That if there have been emails exchanged over the dark web and over Telegram, Press Council cannot investigate.
Mr. Amit, why hasn't Amit Malviya complained to the Press Council? Why has he not complained to the Editors Guild?
Because it's a criminal case.
Why should
he is
the
alleging
police have to come into this?
criminality, which will be covered under the Indian Penal Code.
What's the crime?
The crime is conspiracy and forgery.
Tell me that.
Is the crime.
Aprajita Sarangi, would you be better placed to have the Press Council of India and Editors Guild investigated? Aprajita Sarangi.
See, whatever happened should not have happened. And this is intentional. This is fabricated. This is a design to tarnish the image of India, to tarnish the image of Bharatiya Janata Party and that of the Prime Minister. So I think it is noteworthy that under the Indian Penal Code,
absolute nonsense,
cheating, forgery for the purpose of harming somebody's reputation,
absolute nonsense,
are definitely punishable offences. And Amit Malviya, I think the right thing by lodging an FIR against Bayer, and Bayer, as I told earlier, has been a habitual offender. So I think whatever investigation is carried out should be carried out, and just merely saying sorry does not suffice. Saying that I acknowledge the error and I apologize,
including police raids.
as I mentioned,
including police raids.
You know, there is no guarantee that Wire would not do it
on
again.
the media.
So I think the habitual offenders
do you believe in freedom of speech or not?
With iron fist.
Do you believe in freedom of
Amit
expression and
Malviya
speech or
had
not?
to go to the police, had to
Do you
lodge
believe
an
in freedom
FIR.
of speech or not?
Sir, that is why we have laws relating to criminal defamation, because freedom of speech is not absolute, which is why people get tried and convicted for criminal defamation. You cannot say that I will defame somebody and claim it as freedom of speech. And when I'm investigated, I will say that this is having a chilling effect on my freedom of speech. I cannot have freedom to defame you or to make you out to be a criminal. It is the law of our country and of any country. But that being said, even for those, you may, sir, think that this is only a witch hunt and it's purely a mistake, but whether it is a mistake or it was well thought out can only be determined by a proper investigation, which has to be done by the police. Nobody else has the wherewithal to decide. And in conclusion, let me just say, everyone makes mistakes. We've been saying this since day one. But there are people in our country who will pick up the smallest mistake and make it out to be a complete failure on the part of people who they do not agree with ideologically. So for those people, even if it's a mistake, maybe it's time to sit back and ponder. It's all okay to mock people and say that you are from WhatsApp University and that you are Godi media, but to turn around and say that, oh, we've been had, oops, let's move on. Why do you think that you're an exception to the rule that you set down? Thanks very much, all gentlemen. Aprajita Sarangi for joining us.